In this video on Google Sheets, I'm going to show you how to split and concatenate different cells in your Google Sheet. We're going to go over the split function, concatenate, which essentially just smashes things together, and finally the join function. Let's get started. First thing I want to point out, all this data here, fake data that I created from this website here, so I'm not giving away any personal information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first demonstrate the split feature. I'm going to use that to take my email addresses and split it out, everything before the @ sign and everything after the @ sign. So I'm going to go to an empty cell here and I'm going to hit equal sign because I'm going to do a function, split, open parentheses. The text I'm going to use my arrow key to go over there, is going to be C2. Then hit comma. Now it wants to know the delimiter. Essentially the delimiter is what should we split it by? What sort of character should we be using to split it into the different ones? In this case, I'm going to use the @ sign. So I'm going to put open quotation mark, @ sign, close quotation marks. Now I'm going to close it here. I have some other options I can do, but for now, this is a pretty simple one. So basically what it's done is it's split this into dfahey@hotmail.com. So here's the first part, everything before the @ sign. Here's everything after the @ sign. Now what I can do if I want to do this for all the rest, I'm just going to highlight down. So I'm using Control Shift and then the down button. And then I'm going to hit Control D, which means it's going to carry that formula down. I'm going to do so, and there we can go. So now I have it all split, everything before the @ sign and everything after it. You'll notice that it turned these all into hyperlinks because it thought that they were .coms, and so it's actually linking it right to there. Once I've done this, it's relatively simple now. If I just wanted to select all the people who have gmail.com ones, now I have all their information right there. So splitting can be a good way to sort, and if necessary, then you could delete the information and it still remains sorted right here. So that's one thing that you could do with it. Another thing that I could do, instead of having the @ sign, if I was to do just a dot, you can see that now it's splitting it into dfahey@hotmail, and then the com part is separate there. If I was to drag this one down like before, now I'm getting everything except for the .com. Now, if I wanted to just completely remove the .com, you'd think that I could just go up here and write .com and it should split it into there, but you're going to notice if I try that and carry it down, everything's all messed up. Here what it's trying to do is it's searching for the dot, the C, the O, or the M. It's looking for literally every single one of those and trying to split those out into multiple different cells. Everything's all crazy here. So let's try that and try that again slightly different now. So I'm going to do equal sign split. Go over to there, and I'm going to use the delimiter .com, but in this case, I'm going to use the additional little feature that comes up here. And what I want to do is I want to change this not from true. I don't want it to be splitting around every single one in there. I want it to be splitting by the whole thing. So I'm going to type false. And you'll notice the difference is now it's completely removed the .com. If I go back and I change this to either true or I delete it, everything's all messed up. But the moment I add in that false there, it's going to make sure that it's only splitting it by that entire piece right there. It's searching for the .com, and that's the part that it's actually splitting around. Now, I'm going to go back to my Amazon cart now, and I'm going to show how I could use the split feature, the price that I have listed in my Amazon cart. I could actually split it by the decimal point between the dollars and the cents. Once again, it's very easy to do. Hit the equal sign, and I'm going to do split. Then I'm going to go over to my cell, this is D2, then hit comma. My delimiter is going to be just the dot here, the decimal point there, and I'm not going to split by each. I don't necessarily need to do anything with it. I'm just going to close it like this, and you'll notice now it's split it into everything before it. 99 and 88 cents goes right there. If I drag this down, you can see that I've essentially split it just by there. I could now do something that I wanted. I could maybe sort it by the cents that comes after it, whatever. There's a lot of possibilities that you can do here with the split function. You can start looking at any piece of text and realize, hey, these all have this in common. I could split it by this and maybe get some information out of that. One thing that you may notice, the delimiter itself does not appear in either the start or the end. If I go back to my names right here and I do it again, the @ sign did not make an appearance at all in there. So anytime you're using that delimiter, that one will not actually appear in the results themselves. Now I'm going to show you the concatenate feature. Once again, this is just a way of smashing things together. And I can smash together any two cells that I want. Let's say I want to smash together Han Solo and Princess Leia. Just put those into one piece of text. So to do so, I'm going to hit the equal sign, because once again I'm going to do a function. Now I'm going to navigate over to there. I'm going to say Han Solo Then I'm going to put the ampersand, and I'm going to say Princess Leia. Now, you're going to notice that I have a problem here. I don't have any space between those two pieces of text. The @ sign is really good for smashing them together, but it doesn't necessarily know that some things you should actually have a space in between. So what I want to do is I want to go to my formula, and I do want to smash things together, but I want to add something else in between it. So I'm going to do G4 and then I'm going to put open quotation marks, a space, close it, and then another @ sign here. Now what this means is it's actually going to be smashing together those two things, but it's going to be putting a space between them. Now if I was to drag this down just for grins and giggles, you're going to see that it is going to be smashing together multiple different things right here. You can ignore that for now, but it's going to be doing G5 and G6, G6 and G7. But in this case, it's always going to be putting that space in between them. This one right here, obviously there's nothing here for G9 or G10, but you get the general idea. That little @ sign there allows you to smash together two pieces of text. Let's use that in conjunction with a couple other Google features to show you different things. Let's say I want to do all the different numbers for the Star Wars video. So I'm going to start 1, 2, and I could number all of them. Fortunately, there's only 7, but instead I could speed this up a little bit and just carry those numbers down there. Now I could put a piece of text in here, kind of like a question. So I'm going to put =, and then I want a piece of text here, and I want to say, in episode number, and here's where I want to actually smash it with the number right in front of it. So I'm going to use the @ sign right there, and I'm going to say A14, then another ampersand, another and. You have to make sure you close it out with the parentheses, and I'm done. Now it says, in episode 1, who is your favorite Star Wars character? And I have to drag that down like this, so now I'm smashing together whatever number I happen to have right there, along with that piece of text, allowing me to include multiple different things in one cell. Let me show you a way that I could use the concatenate feature to actually create email addresses from username. So here I have a username right here. Here's the email address that I was able to pull off of online stuff. Let's say I want to make that into a different email address. I have my own web domain. I want to add new email address. So now I'm going to use, once again, my concatenate. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select the username. I'm going to put the ampersand, and now I want to open quotes because I want to put something in here. Let's put in like my school district. Close the quotes and hit return. So now I've taken this username and I've added it to this. If I drag that down, I now have a large group of text that I could just use this and copy and paste. If I was to start a new email, now I could do a batch email for all of these because I was able to create their email address just by knowing, oh hey, it's this username right here plus this particular piece of text that goes after it. Let's try this now. I'm going to actually do a kind of a combination of both split and concatenate. Right now I have their names listed by last name, comma, first name. Let's see if I can't use split and concatenate to kind of smash these together into one thing that actually is going to have the first name and the last name with no comma in there, with the first name coming first. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split. So I'm going to take this line of text, and the delimiter that I'm going to use is the comma, because you'll notice they all have last name, comma, first name. Close that out, and here I can see I now have the first name and the last name split apart. Carry that down, and you can see I have the general idea right here. The only downside that I see right here is that I actually have a space. That one I didn't account for in my original thing. The delimiter is only a comma, but I could change that to a comma and then a space after that, and you'll notice I no longer have that little leading one here. If I carry that down, all those spaces have disappeared, though I have included those extra little things here. Once again, though, I can fix that if I change that to be, I want you to match this entire thing, not each character, so I will put false and carry that one down. Now I have the first name and the last name split apart, and I was able to do so by slightly modifying it by adding in that false so that it has to match this entire thing, not just one or the other. So now I have the first name and the last name, but I need to smash them together. So I'm going to use the concatenate feature again. So I'm going to hit the equal sign, go here, here's Admiral Akbar's first name, then I want to use the @ sign. I want to include a space, otherwise it's going to be first name, last name. I want to make sure there's something in between it. Ampersand again, and now I have the last name. Carry that down with my Control D, and here we go. I was able to take this line of text right here, which was last name, comma, first name, and change it into first name, last name, with no space in between there. So that was a couple different tricks that we were able to use to build them all together. A little trick in there is make sure you add in that space, and then make sure that you're not selecting one or the other, you're selecting the entire thing by saying do not split around each character, split around the whole thing.